Wow, someone just commented on Facebook. Oh,
Okay, I think we're live. All right, so we are live, and I guess there are already people in the room.
perfect.
So
Okay.
it looks like we're ready to go. Why don't we give them a minute to get situated?
Let's give a couple minutes because people are probably a little confused as to where to find us.
Okay.
And we're a few minutes late.
It's interesting. Oh, okay. So yes, there's about 358 watching now, so we'll give it a couple minutes.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And I'm going to go ahead and record this now, just so we have the file. How are you this morning?
Oh my God, I had the best night's sleep.
Did
I
you?
sleep so good at this cabin in Utah. When I'm by the ocean, I don't sleep. I don't sleep at all, like a couple hours a night. And when I'm here, it's like I'm a little baby and sleep is just, I mean, I sleep until like 8:30 in the morning, 9, which I normally never do. And my dreams have been like so busy, but like it's family related. It's all family related stuff. My
Interesting.
dreams. Yeah. How have you been sleeping lately?
So, by the way, your cabin is adorable. So my dreams have been off the charts, which is uncharacteristic for me. But I've been setting an intention every night to wear a necklace that this woman sends me. She sends me crystals all the time and bracelets. And I've had super vivid dreams. So my dreams have been through the roof. And last night I was laughing hysterically out loud in the physical while dreaming. So I caught myself at like 5 a.m. laughing hysterically.
I
So
love that.
I know. So yes, we still have people rolling in, but I think we should just probably begin.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Hold on. Okay.
Just take a yeah. Okay, I think we're good. Take a screenshot, or not a screenshot, but a photo.
One second.
Okay.
I put the wrong link in.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, you're fixing it on the
Yeah. Give me one second, you guys.
Thank you for your patience, guys. Well, we're getting a lot of likes and we haven't even spoken yet. So I think that means we definitely have a soul family now.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you, Tara. I see you.
Let's see if this works.
I don't even know why I'm smiling.
There. Okay, I did the right one.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right, we shall begin. So Lori and I have a pretty big announcement to make, and it's not that we're engaged or anything, but there has been of a group consciousness that's been working with us, and they're the ones that pulled us together, and they have a very strong energy, and we can talk for hours at a time, and it's because these beings, these energies, they want us to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into everything and dissect and pick apart everything. But when we checked in, they wanted to be named the non-physicals. So this is a pretty big day for Lorie and me, because from now on, I'm not going to be saying the guides, I'm going to be saying the non-physicals. Do you want to add anything to that, Lorie?
Yeah, I feel like, so for myself, when Feel Good said, when Feel Good, why would I say feel good? That's so weird. When Feel Good, when Phil said to me, I forgot how you introduced me to them, but the second you said the non-physicals, I felt them come in, and I've channeled hundreds of different consciousnesses, and I've never felt the consciousness of like the non-physicals. They are very unique. They're very loud, like a lot of consciousnesses or energy. So it's just energy, right? Basically what we're doing is we're connecting to energy. And this energy to me feels like it first of all, it comes up to on my left in front of me, which is very unusual. Usually guides kind of come to behind me, and I'm pulling like this, and they pop in and they pop out, right? They emerge, and then they dissolve, and they're um they're very fast with the information, but they're also and very like straightforward and serious, right? But they also have a sense of humor. It just feels like this flowy, energetic consciousness that's like this. That's how I feel it is. And the second you brought them up, and I connected, it was like, oh yes, this is an absolute. This is the next step. Um, for however,
It broke off a little bit. What did you say right before this? You said they were like fluid or something?
yeah, they're super fluid, right? So their consciousness moves like it's almost like it arises out of an ocean, and it moves like there's like these stringy energies that come up and they come forward and speak, and then they go back down, which is very unusual for consciousness. Consciousness is, whether you want to call them light beings, whether you want to call them angels, galactic beings, they kind of pop, they're in front of you, right? They're like, boom, we're right here, or above you, and their presence is there. These beings, this consciousness is very, very different. It arises out of nowhere, it dissolves out of nowhere. Um, and when it comes up, it's like these slitherly kind of like consciousnesses that are moving. It's like when one of them wants to communicate, it'll move forward and then move back. That's how I see it, kind of like, but there's a group, collective consciousness that is here for humanity, for you guys, and they want to communicate. They don't want to communicate to us. They want to communicate to the human. Um, that's how I see them and how I feel them, and they're very much keeping us present, very, very present. So we show up when they say we show up, and we do it the way that feels most resonant for all of us, meaning you and me and the non-physicals. but I'm really excited to channel them and kind of bring in their information. And the way that we do it is going to be very normal and kind of how we normally talk anyway. So it's not this like spectacular, channeling show. But I'm excited to, they're very, very, very excited to start connecting with the human.
Yes. And they even told us, well, they told me, because you and I are sourcing differently, but when we work together, it's like we go back and forth with what they're telling us. It's an incessant, it's nonstop. But they also told me that this has never been done before. There's never been a duo, Phil and Lorie, to bring a non-physical consciousness or group consciousness to the mainstream. So a lot of the information that they're going to be divulging or educating us with is very, very digestible, very relatable. And I love how you said, Lorie, that they feel like they arise from the ocean. And I feel the same way. It's like they emerge from nothingness and they actually don't exist when there isn't a query. They don't exist. They're literally just a bed of intelligence. And then when someone has an asking or a request or they're seeking information or advice, they come out like these stringy, like you said, they emerge from nothingness. And for me, they're very fast. They're like, zzz, they have that zzz energy. It's like electricity or I love what you said the other day. They're underwater, but there is no water. They're under the water, but there is no water. So if you can imagine an ocean, and then you have these different waves that are different individualized aspects of consciousness at large that come through, that symphonize to answer your question. So you might have one wave, another wave, and another wave, and they all symphonize and pull together to answer your question, but it's not really water. It just is this bed of consciousness that, and these different aspects that are localized or individualized, they emerge from nothingness and then they go back down. And they said to me yesterday, their energy is very akin to peekaboo, we have a message for you.
Yeah.
And the other thing they told me right before we got on, so they're not letting me tell Lorie things because they want it to be 100% spontaneous. But they told me this right before we went live. They said that they're not going to be here to predict the future for people because they solely work with the now. So they don't exist when there isn't a conundrum or when there isn't a problem to solve or a puzzle to solve in the now. So they're not here to predict your future. They're here to help the human become a creator.
Totally. So good. Yeah. The other day they were like, you knock and we answer. So that's it. You knock and we're going to answer. And that's all. And they're only going to reflect back to you your now moment. So the way I see it is like, we're going to give the messages today, a little bit of like what's coming through, but going forward, it's really about calling in a person, having them ask, and then having them communicate with that individual, right? What do they want? And they're very straightforward. So it could be, I mean, who knows how it's going to be, how it's going to unravel and how it's going to unfold, but they're very direct but it's almost like a quickening, right? So it's like, how many humans can we get in front of us as quickly as possible so that we can quicken this, meaning wake the slumber. There is a lot of humanity that is, I wouldn't say going back to sleep, but a lot of humanity is getting tired. And so there is this like slowing down sort of energy. And I think that's another reason why they're coming in right now. And another reason why this is all happening right now is we need to learn how to exercise our sort of energetic muscles in order to stay in that aligned state, to keep going for the long haul. And so humanity needs to receive whatever they need to receive right now whether it's releasing or opening or whatever it is, so that they can get that little like extra oomph, that protein shot to keep going.
They're saying that, so this is how they work with us. So Lorie talks and then I get their saying. And then while I talk, she gets their saying. So I should also emphasize that we're not really going to be in the way. So you guys see me do videos sometimes, or Lorie do videos sometimes where we're very theatrical or very opinionated. You're not going to get that sense with the non-physicals because they are going to be speaking to your higher aspects, but in a relatable way. So it's not about my opinions. It's not about Lorie's views. It's strictly about them connecting the dots of your now moment. So let's say that you have a blind spot. They will come in and fill in that blind spot with information that is easily digestible, like these tidbits of information, so that you can connect the dots. I'm seeing right now like these towers, and you come with a challenge, or you come with a query, or you come with a problem, and every blind spot that you may have, they're going to shine a light on it to help you light up those towers. And as Lorie was saying that humanity is getting run down, or I think you just said humanity is getting tired, they said that humanity's soul is getting weary, starting to be a little used up. And so they're going to be here to help give them that wheatgrass shot or that protein shot, that little boost of additional energy that they need. Because the last thing we want to do right now in these unprecedented times is to give up on ourselves. We don't want to give up on ourselves, but they're going to also speak to the individual. So they're going to be catering to you and what you need. So don't be surprised at all if when we share their messages, you feel like you're being addressed directly, because that's precisely what is happening. They are addressing you directly. It's not going to be like a collective message. It will be, but they're, even if it's collective, the message is going to be handcrafted for you, handmade for you, they're saying.
1,000%. You're so right. And that's why we're being called to do it the way we're going to do it next, which is the Zoom, the call in. So we're going to have people calling in because it's very, very clear to me. And they've been clear the entire time that this is about them literally speaking directly to a human. So we want the human to speak and ask the question, and then we're going to pull the mirror out and say, here you are, here it is. And it's going to have a ripple effect. For those of you that are holding the same frequencies as the human that asked the question, right? So we're all holding a little bit different frequencies. If you're holding the same sort of frequency as the human that just asked that question, i.e. you're going through the same sort of things, their message is for you as well. So don't get upset if you don't get to speak directly to them on any of the Zoom things that we do or anything else going forward. They're just saying right now, if your frequency matches that human that's asking the question, then that message is for you as well. And you're going to resonate with it anyways. They just dissected it a little bit in terms of the frequency. That's how it works. But yes, 1,000%.
They're saying that they're like a bridge. So they're here to bridge you into your highest timeline. They're here to help you retrace your footsteps back to the entirety of who it is that you are. They are here to fill in those potholes like Lorie talked about last time. They're here to fill in the blanks. So if you can imagine a bucket of paint and there's like this hollow or there's this pothole in your field, they're going to pour that bucket of paint in there, and you're going to be more plugged in to your native frequency, i.e. your original self, i.e. your higher self. Your original self is already divine. Your original self is already divine, but what's happened throughout the years and even before we became incarnate is that there was so much programming on the planet that the second we descended, we were programmed. The second we descended, but our nature is that we are divine, and their job is to help you remember, but also retrace your steps to that native frequency. That's their job. They are a bridge. They're also showing me that they look like, if you can imagine flies. I don't know why I like flies. but not like flies, like the insect, but energy. They look like flies. They're like energies. And you know when birds fly together,
Mm-hmm.
they come in and they come in and they create this spiral staircase for you to vibrate yourself into that higher state, which is really just your original state.
Yeah, and also what they're saying, if you settle in right now to us, if you're live or on the replay, if you settle into the energies, you'll be able to feel them. So we're not spectacular or special, right? So when we pull them in, meaning when we connect with them, it's an energetic receptor, right? There's like a, not receptor, there's an energetic antenna that we both have, right? And we're connecting to them. So if we're pulling or connecting to that energy and frequency, the humans that are listening can also start to connect and feel them as well. And the other thing they said is, because you're capable of feeling them as well, is basically what they want you to know. And the other thing they're saying is that this is not, and take this with a grain of salt, with no expectation or attachment, because humans have expectation and attachment. Okay. But what they're saying is this is like no other, they keep saying receptor or receiver in terms of the information, that this is like no other way that you have received information before. So although you're not physically standing in front of them, you are energetically standing in front of them, and the transmission that is given to you has the ability to quantum shift, quantum jump, or accelerate you instantaneously if you let go of anything other than the why you're showing up to ask us the question. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
And Lorie and I mean, this thing has taken over us. That's why we know that there's been this collection of beings that has been assisting us because, and I think we should also say that they're not beings. They're
No.
not aliens. That's not what they are. They are weightless.
Yeah.
They are weightless energies. They are nameless energies. They are genderless energies. They are these energies that come directly from source, but they all symphonize and synchronize to harmonize you. And they even told me yesterday that they can be beings. In other words, they gave me the analogy of the kitchen sink cookie. Have you ever had an everything cookie where it's like the kitchen sink cookie
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
left and they put it in a cookie? They,
Yeah.
they are an amalgamation of many beings, spirit guides, but they don't want to be seen that way. They're just energy. It's weightless. It's an intelligence that will swoop in to serve you in that moment, to patch up every crack in your wall. And there is no future with them. That doesn't exist with them. It's all here now, all of it. And if we're able to connect to that highest vibration in this now, then you can rest assured that every other now will be reverberated as such, meaning it will be rippled as such. So they're solely focused on this now. And so if you don't say anything, they don't exist.
Exactly. And they're not a name. They're not like a galactic being. They're not, they're in none of that for a reason, right? Um, for non-attachment.
They actually told me that they support and serve a lot of the galactic beings as well. So they're everywhere in the universe, but they're also nowhere.
Okay, so do you want to hear something strange that's coming in so we can play with this? But because I do want to hear your download, but they are saying we want to show the human how we work. We want to show them how we work. So what they're saying is, can you go to the chat box and ask somebody to ask a question?
Okay. Can I use the bathroom as people do that? I'll be really quick.
Yeah, use the restroom. And then, so all of you that are here live, and if you have the ability to see the chat box, they're encouraging you to ask a very specific question, and give us your name. So type in your name. My name is blah, and here's my question. And then Phil will go and pull the question because they want to show us how they work, um, and how they're going to be doing what they're doing with us. Um, so yeah, I can't see the chat box because I'm on Zoom, so I'm on the other side.
Before people start asking questions, I think we should share a really profound download. By the way, they're constantly streaming more information, so it's a lot sometimes. And okay, so there's two things I want to say. So Lorie and I, sometimes we're on together on Instagram for like 4 hours at a time. Like they don't let us unglue until we're complete.
Yeah.
They're very intense, meaning that every loose end needs to be tied up. Every loop needs to be closed. So sometimes they have us work for 4 hours and we're tired, but they're like pulling us with a rope and they're like, keep going, keep going. It's a crash course of ascension.
Yeah.
And you feel different every single day. And they run the show. So I wanted to kind of go live yesterday and they wouldn't let me. And then the other thing I want to share before they start asking questions is
they're already asking.
let's talk about the ping pong download that we got yesterday.
Oh, yes. But is that the download you want to talk about that they gave you, or is that?
But I think we can kind of encapsulate it really fast.
Okay.
To give them an idea of how visual they are.
Okay.
And how sci-fi-ish they are too. Like they're really cool in the way that they're able to delineate information through visuals.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So if you guys don't know me by now, I usually have a hard time remembering. All right. So I'm gonna break it down. Try to remember what we did. So we were talking about, or the information that came through was about programming and traumas, and how we are in a fixed field, so to speak, where we are playing out the same fixed or programmed traumas that are also programs over and over and over again, that are also an illusion that takes one moment of eye-opening awareness to break it. And so here's the analogy they gave us. Imagine that you're playing ping pong and with somebody else, and literally like another person in your life, right? And you know how that works. You know what you do, right? You know how you play back and forth with each other. They say this, you say that, et cetera, et cetera. It's programmed. It's behavioral, and it's easy. You know what to do. Even if it doesn't feel right anymore, it's so easy. You just keep doing it. And they said that that whole game and the whole room that you're in is an illusion. Now, it's very real, but it's an illusion, meaning that there are an infinite amount of other rooms with other quote unquote games or no games that you could tap into if you put the paddle down. Right? If the ball drops, like you said, Phil, if the ball drops on the ground, right, you get this aha, this hit of like, oh, it's time to leave this relationship, or it's time to leave this job. That literally is the ball dropping, because the game is not in the game isn't going, right? The game stops for a second, and you get this, Lorie, we want you to change rooms. We want you to change rooms. And you have that moment of like, do I put the paddle down? Do I trust that I can put the paddle down? Do I trust that I can step into another room? By the way, you can't see these other rooms. That's the quantum field. You have an intention that, oh my God, I bet there's like a Pac-Man room that is so freaking fun, that probably has like all these like other people playing Pac-Man at the same time, but you don't know it yet because you're still stuck in that trauma bond or that program. But if you put the paddle down, as soon as the ball falls, as soon as you get that aha hit, you put the paddle down, instantaneously, there will be like an opening or like a screen that will show up, right? Where it's like this way, but you still have to choose to walk to that other, or to move into that other space. Otherwise, you could pick up the ball and the paddle and back you go, because that person isn't going anywhere. That person's not walking out of that room. That job isn't walking out of your space. It's all about you, creatorship, power, empowerment, trust, right? That that vision is like gold.
Okay, so while you were talking, they were saying that as it relates to what you just shared and the other rooms, like there's another Pac-Man room instead of a ping pong room, meaning there's a different paradigm or a different reality that you can be a part of. They said your consciousness transports you to another reality before your physical body goes there. So your consciousness has already transported you to another reality. So sometimes people, they know, they're like, I'm not a match to this. I'm not a match. That's because you know that your consciousness isn't there anymore, but your physical body is still very much planted in that. That's because your physical body is undergoing a readaptation process or a readjustment process where it doesn't see the room that your consciousness has already transported you to. Your physical body is like, I don't understand why I'm still a match to the situation. You're not in your consciousness. You've already transported to the Pac-Man room, but your physical body has to see how that previous reality is going to fizzle out. So just going back to the ping pong example, because I think it's important that I add this in. You're playing ping pong. You're perpetuating your old vicious cycles. And then all of a sudden you have an aha moment. I love what you said, eye-opening awareness or eye-opening. You said something that was really cool. So you're playing ping pong and you keep engaging in drama. And all of a sudden you have this reckoning where you're like, wait, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm going to log out of this game. So you put your paddle down and you're like, I'm done playing. So this is all figurative, but it has to do with the energy. And the non-physicals are all energy. So as soon as you drop your paddle, the ball is going to fly off the table because you're not playing that game anymore. You're choosing to disengage from what isn't suitable for you anymore, from what doesn't bring you joy anymore, from what doesn't uplift you anymore, from what isn't a match to what you know your consciousness is. So that ball is going to bounce off the table, fly off the table, and land on the ground. Okay, so follow me. That is synonymous with you leaving a job. When you leave the job and you don't have proof of your next job, the ball is on the ground. Your ego is going to want to pick up that ball desperately. Your ego is going to be clamoring to pick up that ball. It's like, ooh, but I need to tidy up. I need to tidy up. I need to clean up my basement. The ball is on the ground and it's agitating me right now. If you pick up that ball, you're still invested in that game because the ball is part of that illusion. It's part of that ping pong game. It's not part of what's coming or what you're moving into. So what you have to do, right, is I'm freaking out. I just lost my job, i.e. the ball is on the floor and I really want to pick it up, meaning I want to go get some random job just to offset what I'm feeling. But you have to let the ball be there. What's going to happen when you do that? Well, you're making an additional choice that you're no longer a fit for that life. That life you don't deem that life fit for you anymore. And then within a month or two, guess what's going to happen? So you're keeping your third eye on where your consciousness has already transported you to, but your physical body is still in that basement with a ping pong table. And then
staring at the ball, right?
Ball, like I really want to pick it up, but I'm going to log out of that too. And then all of a sudden, the whole room starts to fizzle and dissolve. It gets swept up into the ether. And right away, you're in that next Pac-Man room. But it is a gradual process. But if you hold fast and you hold strong to the belief that there's more out there, then and this was the vision I got. It's like the room, you know, when a room fractalizes in the movie, it fizzles and it gets swept up and then whoop, scene. And now you're switching yourself into a completely different movie scene that has nothing in common with the previous scene.
So, you know what I think is really important to say? Two things. When you say consciousness, your consciousness is already there.
Yeah.
It can be a couple different things. One, it can be like a movie screen, like you see yourself somewhere else. You see yourself in a new job. You see yourself or you feel yourself. Your consciousness is energy, right? And so your energy is moving into that quantum space and picking up on some other aspect of you that's already playing Pac-Man, right? Your physicality has to catch up with your consciousness, which is the energy tapping into the quantum and other aspects of you. So when you say that you're conscious, the ball drops, and you have that choice to leave your job or leave that relationship, and your consciousness is already seeing the other room, so to speak, right? So you have to start to become multidimensional, which is if my consciousness is showing me, i.e., I can see myself in a different new job, I can see myself, right? Or I know that it's there, the knowingness, then you have to have patience with this time space continuum that we're in, right? And have patience not to pick up the ball, and to know that if your consciousness is already showing you, you have to trust the speed at which physicality moves. So the meaning that the speed in which the room is going to dissolve, but you have to trust not picking up that ball. You have to trust your consciousness. You have to trust divine will. You have to trust higher self. And they also said that many of us will pick up the ball unconscious to the fact that, yeah, we're going to play a different ping pong. There's a different partner now. So it's going to feel a little different. That partner is going to maybe be not as fast or not as hard. So maybe it won't be the same type of trauma, right? Well, it's a different partner and they seem really cool, or it's a different job and it seems really good, but it's the same game because it's the same trauma bond you're playing out, or the same program. It's the same table, it's the same room, it's the same paddle, it's the same you just chose a different partner to play, so you think it's going to be a different game, and it's the exact same game. 6 months later, the ball, you put the paddle down, the ball drops, and here you are once again in the same situation that you were in a year ago, 6 months ago, or whatever, right? So it's about that consciousness piece is huge. They're saying the consciousness piece is huge because that's where trust and surrender comes in.
They're saying that the reason why it's important to refrain from picking up that ball or from scooping up that ball is because that ball is representative of the debris from that situation.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Leftover fear. I call them the leftovers. It's the leftover feel, or the scraps on your plate. And so the reason why it's so important to stop yourself from picking up that ball is because your guides want to ensure that you're ready for that Pac-Man room. They want to know 100%, alchemically speaking. So when you said your body has to catch up to your frequency, to your newfound frequency, all that means is your body has to fully, entirely, categorically eliminate the debris of fear that you still hold, which will then enable you to make that quantum jump. But if you're still seeing the ball in the room, you're still a match to the room. Oh my God. If you're still seeing the ball in the room, you are still in vibrational accord with the room, because even though the table isn't real to you anymore, meaning even though you know for certain that job was like a done deal, you checked out, you were done with the job, you were done with the table, the ball is still a residue, which was part and parcel of you becoming a match to that solid reality. The ball is still part of it.
Absolutely. And they're also saying, okay, a couple things. They're saying, if you go back to the ping pong table and it's a new partner you're playing with, okay, they said, no, Lorie, that's actually you wanting to tell the human that. Okay, that's great. So what I wanted to tell the human, no, this is really what just happened. Okay. What I wanted to tell you guys was that it's totally good if you go back and play, don't beat yourself up. And they said, absolutely not. They said, no. They said, that's you wanting to kind of pamper or like take care of the human, Lorie. And that's not actually what we just told you. What did we just tell you? And what they actually just said was,
I can see why. I'm like, hell yes, honey. Like, I'm like, yes, go for it. I'm talking to them. I'm like, yes, honey. Okay, keep going, keep going.
What they said was, the reason that we are showing up right now, Lorie, is not to placate the human, is not to pamper the, take, baby step the human. The reason we are showing up right now is to really put a mirror in front of the human and say, why are you continuing to do that which you do not want to do anymore? What are the beliefs that you are choosing to continue to hold? What are the limiting beliefs that you are choosing to continue to grab and carry with you as weights? If you don't believe that you have access to joy and peace and freedom and abundance, then how can we assist you? How are we going to be able to assist you if you won't embrace that which is already available to you? So a lot of times they're saying the human will go back to the old patterns with a new partner, meaning job, whatever it is, because they don't believe that that which is available to them, that their consciousness is tapping into, is actually available to them. They don't believe it deep down. And so the non-physicals are saying, if you don't believe this, if you don't believe you can have the job you want, if you don't believe that you can make the money you want by doing what you want, if you don't believe that you can have the partner you want, take time out of this, meaning linear time, then we're not going to be able to assist you. So you've got to be able to, so people were listening to what we were saying and they were saying, yeah, but. And the non-physicals are saying, if you throw yeah, but into this, they're very direct. I'm a little like, oof, God, okay. If you throw the yeah, but into it, we're not going to be able to serve you. You've got to look at the yeah, but. Does that make sense?
I think it's because they're, let me see. Yes, the yeah, but is a non-committal energy. It's an energy where you're still clinging on to something because you need something out of that situation, but deep down, you know you don't want it anymore. That's good. You
Yeah.
still need something from that situation, which stems from a place of lack or fear, but deep down, you already know you don't want it anymore. And so, as long as you keep investing in that piggy bank or energizing or powering that reality, then you can't fake it. In other words, you can't fake it till you make it when it comes to vibration. You can't fake it till you make it when it comes to frequency. Ooh, that's a quote. You can't fake it till you make it when it comes to frequency. Because as long as you still have a hand in that pie or in that pile, the pie and the pile, depending on whatever turns you on. But as long as you have a hand in that pile, then you're still colluding or co-creating with the aspects that belong to that consciousness. In other words, when people are in a codependent relationship, is because they might need different things from each other, but they need each other in order to satisfy that lack or to satisfy that need. And the non-physicals are saying to me as I speak, is they're saying creators don't have realities they need. Ooh, they're saying creators have realities they want. Holy shit. Creators have realities that they want.
Exactly. That's the point. That's the exact point they were trying. Yes. You are creating what you want, not what you are victimized into or what your trauma is telling you that you still need to hold on to in order to receive what you want. The frequency of your body, the frequency of, it's like it's like the frequency of our body is pulling us, and the frequencies of the traumas and the egoic patterns are tug of warring. So like pulling back almost, right? So there's this kind of energetic tug of war they're showing where the frequency of you is ready to jump or leap. The frequencies of that trauma that's still in the body, or that programming, that the fear, the anxiety, the limiting beliefs, that frequency is still pulling the human back to that ping pong table. So it's about getting clear on what is leading, what part of the rope are you leaning towards? So are you leaning towards the frequency of what you are knowing is what's being asked of you or called, or your desire, what you want? Or are you moving towards the comfortable, familiar, sort of older patterns hoping that you're going to get something different from it, or it'll change some way. Or this is really important, this tug of war. They're saying, where is your, what direction are you moving towards with your energy? Not your mind, not your thoughts. Feel into the energy. Like if you close your eyes, they're saying, and you feel into your body, and you try to look at the direction you're going, if you follow the frequency of your body, you're going to feel expansion. They're saying if you follow the frequency of your body that's still holding trauma and programming, et cetera, the egoic sort of like, I'm going to control, it's going to feel contracted and heavy, like you're holding something on your shoulders. So they're asking the human to literally close your eyes and feel into your body, because your frequency is much higher than your actions right now.
You know, that's beautiful. They told me, they didn't give me clearance to share this with you yesterday, but I did anyways. I cheated. But last night they said something to me that was so prolific. And I want everyone to pay attention to this. You know that you're on mission when you're being challenged. You know you're off mission when you're suffering. Being challenged means that you're breaking away from these matrix systems. So you're coming up against all of your resistance. You're coming up against all these contractual agreements that you invisibly signed that kept you entrenched in that matrix. You're challenged, and it's bumpy and it's wobbly and it's rocky, but it's because you're expanding. So you were talking about expansion now. It's because you're expanding. When you're suffering, it means that you still have a yeah, but. When you're suffering, it's the yeah, but. The yeah, but equates to the suffering. Yeah, but, and you stay in that victim consciousness. So go ahead.
And it's, say the first thing again all over again. Say it one more time. When you are.
You know you're on mission when you're being challenged.
The mission piece.
Meaning, it's not going to be peaches and cream to ascend. It's not going to be blink your eyes, and then when you reopen your eyes, it's an utter state of peace and nothing exists anymore. I'm there. I'm in the Pac-Man room, and I'm not playing any games. It's not like that. You're going to be challenged when you break out of your old matrix, because you have to eradicate and eliminate all these fear systems that were harbored in your operating system. But you're off mission when you're suffering.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in this relationship. I can't get out. I'm stuck at this job. I can't get out. It's because you're choosing to power. I like to call it powering up. You're powering up the disbelief in the divine.
Yes.
The disbelief in the divine. But when you believe in the divine, then you know you're unlimited. And when you know you're unlimited, you know that it's just an excuse. You know that the yeah, but is just an excuse. Because what you want isn't what you're living.
Exactly.
And it's all about what you want. And you can have it all. And I think there's been so many indoctrinations and so many firmly instilled programs and societal conditioning that tell you it's your ego if you want it all. It is not your ego if you want it all. It is not your ego. And that's why the non-physicals are starting to work with us, because there are so many channelers that came before us, you guys, that they reached the new age community. It was still fringy a little bit, but they all wanted to go mainstream. It needs to get out that there are ETs. It needs to get out that we're divinely guided by these universal forces of light that want the best for us. Like, this is the solution. This is the basis that will allow us to rectify all the issues that are continually playing out dualistically. We've been in this duality reality because we're not going to the heart of how it all ensued. This is why the non-physicals are taking us mainstream.
It's all about it's all about embracing that challenge. It's embracing the moments when you're staring at the ball and you're uncomfortable. It's embracing the moments where you are looking at two roads that have diverged and you don't know which one. It's about embracing those moments, not saying this is wrong, I shouldn't be feeling this doesn't feel right. All these things that we do because we aren't used to evolving. This is called evolution. And what they want us to remember is that you are God. You are all that you have. You are all of it. These limiting beliefs that the human has around how they are here to live as multidimensional humans has to be scoured or like scrubbed so deeply that they no longer exist. And they say, and it's going to take a lot of scrubbing for a lot of humans, meaning the pan is so burned with cheese or something, you don't give up on the pan and say, freak it, it's too much. I'm too challenged. No, you continue to scrub until that cheese is gone. And those are the limiting beliefs. Those are what the programs and trauma has done to the human. And it's not about positive thinking. They said, throw positive thinking out the door. That is a false sense of safety, they're saying right now. Positive thinking is trying to shortcut your way around challenge, meaning I'm going to try to positive think that the cheese is going to go away. It's like, ooh, cheese isn't going away unless you continue to scrub and your arm is sore and you don't give up on you. You don't give up on you, they're saying. So you can like go sit at a park bench and positive think your way kind of around the challenge of accepting you, of surrendering to you, and knowing that you're worthy of every single thing you want. But you're still going to have to come back and stare at that ping pong. You're still going to have to come back and scrub that freaking dish until the cheese is gone, positive thinking it or not. So this isn't about like shortcutting our way around this. This is about devouring what's in front of the mirror. They keep showing a mirror. Look in the mirror, because who you are, who you haven't even touched the surface of who you are. Your potential.
Pan, you guys, and there's cheese on you.
What?
They are. Everyone is the pan, and there's cheese on them. That's really what it is. The pan is your original self. The pan is your empty self. And I'm hearing it's not about being in a mode of avoidance.
Yes.
It's not about being in avoidance or overlooking these issues. It's about going into them and making love to all of it. Feeling it all, because the more that you can feel, the more that you can widen the bandwidth of your consciousness, because you're not threatened or you're not characterized or categorized by these emotions that you're so desperately trying to avoid. You're saying, I'm going to house all of it. And in housing all of it, I'm going to become this multidimensional galactic being of frequency that can hold every dimension in place. This is about not shying away from the stuff that brings about discomfort.
Yes.
This is about holding it all while recognizing that you were never the ping pong table, you were never the ping pong ball, you were never the paddle, you were never the room, that you are simply the creator that sent this aspect of who you are into that room so that you could derive or extract information to then decide which room you then want to go play in. So there's no better room, because every room offers you a reflection. Every room offers you a reflection of what needs to be tended to. And there's a priority on that. There's a priority on why you're in the ping pong room. It's because there's some sort of a magical item that you need to pick up for your next mission or for that Pac-Man room. So when you play Pac-Man, you're already going to know how ping pong works, and you're already going to be able to identify these patterns. There's a priority as to where you are right now. So when people say to me, but I don't resonate with these employees anymore because they're all asleep, but you're still there. So your physical body is still a match to that. And the ping pong, you might have already logged out of the ping pong table, but the ping pong ball is still there. And it might be your judgment that you hold towards those employees because they're not where you are, but that whole reality is about to fizzle. It's just an illusion. So love yourself enough to dissociate from that entire thing. Let people be where they are. You're about to go into the Pac-Man room. Hello? Wait, did we lose you? Lorie? Hold on, everyone. I think she's frozen. Let me just text her real quick. Oh no. Am I still on? One second, you guys. So I know that I'm still streaming right now. So we're going to give Lorie a moment because this is too good. There's so much juice and so much gold and so much spice in here. Okay, she's back. Yay, I love how we can flow with this. How wonderful is that? You're back.
I'm back.
Did you go to the Pac-Man room? I was worried because you weren't going to play ping pong with me anymore, and my fears and insecurities started coming up. And I wasn't.
I had to rush back. It was so good what you were. It was so good what you were saying. It was so important what you were saying about the creatorship. Basically, you were talking about creatorship. Keep going. Do you remember?
Ping pong room.
What?
Why did you come back to the ping pong room?
Because I wanted to keep playing with you. I love my expression. I love who I am in this room, and it serves me. So I'm going to choose to stay in this ping pong room and play ping pong with you until it no longer resonates. And when it doesn't resonate with you, I'll let you know. And then I'll go create a new room.
I'm already in the Pac-Man room.
What?
I'm already in the Pac-Man room.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere.
You're everywhere. But I really, the buffalo, I knew they were going to come back closer to me. I knew it. I knew it.
That what I just said was so important, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm everywhere. I'm not trying to avoid any now moment.
Oh, so, and this is good because wherever you find yourself, whatever room this is good. Whatever room you find yourself in, you're not trying to do anything in that room other than look at the room I'm in. Does it feel good? Does it not feel good? Right? And then you are jumping to a different room, perhaps. You're in all the rooms because it's quantum. But if you're not attached to a specific room and you're just jumping or flowing in any now moment to any room that you want to experience, the flow happens effortlessly. Does that make sense? So if you're in a job, if you're playing ping pong and you're in the room, let's say you're trying to practice this quantum space, because not everyone knows what you're talking about. Most humans have no idea how to do what you just said. They just don't yet, right?
The simultaneousness of it all.
Yeah. And the ability to flow in and out of rooms, which means that it's not that you don't ever find yourself playing ping pong with someone that you're not resonating with. You do. But what you do is that when you're in that room, you instantaneously are aware of, I am now in a ping pong room playing ping pong with somebody that no longer resonates with my energy and frequency. So now I'm going to choose through my consciousness to say goodbye to that partner. And I'm going to find myself in another room where Phil's doing something else. So there's this flow state, constant creatorship, constant ownership, constant energetic resonance of like, what am I feeling with this individual, with this job, with whatever, and nothing stops you. So when the ball drops, you don't even look at the ball because the ball doesn't even need to drop when you are quantumly moving. The ball doesn't need to drop. You literally just are like, I'm out, see you later. The ball could be in midstream to the other person, right? When you are in that creatorship.
Okay, so they're giving me so much. So let's unpack this and then we can do it together too, okay?
Yeah.
Because I want to demystify the quantum aspect.
Yeah, I think it's important. Because sometimes when you say things like that, people are like, yeah, that's great. But like, what do you mean?
So let me just make it really simple.
Yeah.
The Pac-Man room isn't somewhere that is separate from you. You're everywhere in the galaxy. You're experiencing 1,000 gazillion timelines right now. What's preventing you from seeing them are your limiting beliefs. So when you say I'm stuck in the situation, it means that you still have a limiting belief, which is why you're in that situation. The more that you start to open up your dimensional access by embracing where you are, then you start to receive these inspiring visions of where else you can be. But in the quantum field, you're already there. It's just that you're starting to hook up to those other aspects. Those other aspects are always floating about within the universal mind. You are in Colorado, you are everywhere that you desire to be, and even in the places that you don't desire to be, because you're omnipresent. So if I wanted to simplify this, Lorie, you are always everywhere. But you think through your linearity, meaning limiting belief systems, that it's something that you have to achieve and work for, because you still don't see that you're God. You don't have to work for anything. You just have to become again. You have to be again. And as you do that, all of these different aspects start to align, and you're constantly communing with all of them. So you're not in a rush. I'm already in a mansion somewhere else. But it doesn't mean that I hate this apartment. It doesn't mean that I feel stuck in this apartment. It means that I get to foreplay with my apartment. I get to be here and there. My point of focus right now is here, because my guides, the non-physicals, think that there's more for me to learn by having my point of focus here in this physical, but I'm still in another physical plane.
They're saying we have to respect the linearity of our physicality. So we have to respect we have to respect time. We don't respect it. We hate it a lot of times, right? Because it's like, why is this taking so long? Why am I waiting so long for something? And it's because we're physical and we're very heavy physicality. So it's imagine trying to, I don't know the analogy, but like a big bowling ball compared to like a feather, right? Like a feather can just fly through the air so easily because it's light. It doesn't have a lot of density. The bowling ball is going to be like, no way it's going to lift up right away and start to kind of flow. It's going to take time, right? There's a density to it. There's a heaviness. So we have to allow time to be okay, i.e. that mansion is already there. It's done. It's implanted. It's solidified.
And you're there too.
Yes.
The non-physicals just want to interject this real quick. They're saying that you're as heavy in the other
yes, absolutely. You don't change physicality. You're still this. Absolutely. This is why we have to, if we can devour and appreciate, there's nowhere, you're not going anywhere. They said, you can't separate yourself from linearity and physicality. You can try as all you want to try to convince yourself that you have these abilities, but you're physical, they're saying. So embrace your physicality, embrace time, let time be what it is. Because you're still in that quantum space. So for you and I, that's how we live, right? Like I see my book, I know it's published, I know it's in the hands of millions of people. Is it in my now? No. Do I have to have patience? Yes. Do I trust whatever way that I am being guided to edit and develop it and move it out into the public the way that divine will is asking me to? Yes. Right. So we have to hold both that quantum feather perspective that everything is the now, and we can radar into those other aspects of the now, and we have to honor the physical density of the time sometimes that it takes to energetically step into that space or into that room. We have to devour time.
Okay, so you know how we started with the ping pong thing, and you're like, does this tie in with what they shared with you this morning? It does. Because that's how the non-physicals work. It does.
It's all like,
I think we could segue.
Yeah.
We're saying to me today, because it's all interlinked.
By the way, really quickly, I am loving working with them.
I am too. I feel like this is one of those 2-hour transmissions that needs to be tuned into.
It's just so there's just so much they have. Okay, go.
So they were sharing with me this morning that, and I didn't think it corresponded to the ping pong, but it totally does. They were saying that we really need to start working with our triggers, because triggers are synonymous with traumas. You cannot get triggered unless you have undealt with, unattended to traumas, unresolved traumas, unexamined traumas. You cannot get triggered unless you have a trauma that is still being housed or that still lodges in your body. It is not possible to get triggered unless you have a trauma, they're saying. And so our traumas cause us to trigger, but our triggers are an invitation into the trauma. Our triggers is our soul calling us inside to finally look at that trauma. But what we tend to do is we blame it on everyone else. We delegate blame games. We point the finger. Oh, you won't believe, Lorie, what this person did to me. Oh my God, these employees, they just don't get it. They're not awake yet. It's all projection of the matrix programming that is lodged in your body. Matrix programming is trauma. That's all it is. Matrix programming is a limiting belief system that you've bought into that is blocking your access to the Pac-Man room that you're already in. See how I did that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you got to have fun with it. But the trigger is an invitation into the depth of your soul to figure out what is discordant, what is disharmonious, and the non-physicals are there to give you that chiropractic adjustment.
They're saying that when you hand over your trigger to somebody else, i.e. projection, you're doing this, you're making me feel this way, you are handing over your growth. You're handing over your transformation. You're saying, no, I don't want to grow. I don't want to expand. I don't want to shift. I don't want to evolve. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna throw that which was designed to assist me in expanding and evolving, moving into the higher potential that I'm here to be. I'm going to just throw this back on you. You can have it. You can have it. You can have it. Maybe you'll grow. Maybe you can grow. I don't want to grow. That's basically what they're saying. You're choosing to not take it as the best dessert you've ever ordered at a restaurant. You know, those like 6-layered chocolate cakes. That's what a trigger is, because you get to devour it, right? And it's like when you take that trigger in and digest it, it will literally dissolve that trauma that's within you. If you pull it, if you devour, if you grab it and bring it into your beingness, i.e. feel it. What is the anger giving? Where is the anger directing you, right? Everything is allowing you to dissolve the trauma. If you throw it back to someone, you are literally hindering your process of evolution.
Yes, you are. You're stunting your own growth.
You're stunting it.
And what they're saying is when you project that matrix programming or those traumas onto others, you are multiplying your resistance. You are multiplying your resistance, potentially multiplying other people's resistance because it's reckless to harm other people. And if people buy into it, which most people will, most people internalize when they're confronted or when there's a problem, they internalize it. So it's going to multiply their resistance. So, oh my God, this is so good. They're saying that the matrix multiplies itself to keep more people in cages.
Yes.
So if I'm mad and I project it onto you and you accept that rather than reject that, not reject in an unloving manner, but you're like, Phil, I love you, but this is yours.
That's not mine. Yeah.
If you accept it, then I'm transferring that program into you. And now we both have it.
Yes. If you accept their response. Okay. So somebody does something to this individual gets triggered. Instead of devouring that chocolate cake, that trigger, and saying, ooh, this is going to really help me. I can't wait. Thank you so much for giving me this growth. You instead throw it back. So you keep that unconscious trauma in the matrix. It's multiplied. This person then takes it and says, what the hell? They are then triggered, right? And so there's this like back and forth that occurs with the humans of these unconscious triggered behaviors when all they need to do is literally like dissolve the chocolate cake and just take the triggers for themselves. Because sometimes when this person does something, it was never, this person gets triggered, it's not about this person. This person is triggered, it's not about this person. This is about your growth. You throw your response, your trigger back. This person then gets triggered, right? This person then gets triggered and has the opportunity for growth, or this person doesn't get triggered, right? So if this person doesn't get triggered, then they're not perpetuating the back and forth matrix. Does this make sense? Kind of.
Well, you just
Okay.
demonstrated the ping pong.
Right. But it's a perpetuation, like you were saying. It's a you're perpetuating the trauma, the bonds, the program. You're perpetuating the matrix.
But you're not only perpetuating, it's a multiplication, because it's a fungus that keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. So have you ever seen someone who, or known someone who starts with an eating disorder and then it turns into alcoholism and then it turns into more and more and more? That's because their programming is multiplying. I know people who are bulimic because they're trying to control everything. That's why the non-physicals are going to go mainstream, because it's all control. We need to get back to the core, to the root of it. But most people aren't aware of the root. So you have bulimia, no judgment there. We've all had issues, yes. You have bulimia, you're trying to control things. The bulimia isn't the problem. The bulimia is symptomatic of the deeper issue. It's the manifestation of the deeper issue. So you get the bulimia down, you master the bulimia, and then you start having a drink every night. Now you have alcoholism. Then you move into whatever, taking laxatives. It turns in, it multiplies itself. And then it makes it that much more difficult to climb yourself out of that hole that you've gotten yourself into. So the program, the matrix program, was designed to be multiplied by humans. So we're doing all their bidding for them. We're doing all of their bidding for them, meaning these control systems that want to create this divisiveness, these control systems that want us to be at each other's throats. That's not the nature of who we are. That's not the divine self. That is the separate self that multiplies separation.
They keep saying, I keep hearing them say, it's time to take, it's almost like it's time to take self-responsibility and choice, or choose. So if you find yourself, and I'm one of those, I was like I was like addicted to drugs, and then I went to alcohol always, and then I had the eating disorder, but I always really had the eating disorder, but I would like use different behavior techniques in order to not feel the deep trauma that wanted to be looked at and felt, right? And so it's about taking self-responsibility. It's about holding that trauma. It's about finally starting to not try to blame or numb or distract, they're saying, but instead courageously empower yourself to devour the trauma that literally you actually chose to experience from a higher perspective, they're saying, and begin to dissolve that which you previously created unconsciously in order to create the now that you want. And it doesn't have to take all of these like, courses and like, all of these homework steps. They're saying you're too energetic to wallow in it. It can happen by choice and by self-responsibility. So there are older programs and ways that you can do this, or you can choose courageously to dive deep into it and choose. It's all about choice, they're saying. It really is that simple now, meaning that if you have an eating disorder or a alcohol problem or anything like that, it can become as easy as choice. I mean, I had an eating disorder and I didn't go to a program to heal it. I didn't go to a therapist to heal it. I didn't do anything except work with my trauma on my own, and I healed it that way.
I had body dysmorphia, gym addiction, Um, the non-physicals are saying something that's really deep right now that I've never gotten this information before. Drum roll. I'm trying to add like produce a dramatic effect. They're saying that the trauma, when it happened, the trauma replaced an aspect of your divine self that then vacated the body. So the trauma replaced an aspect of yourself, of the whole, that vacated your body. So the trauma is in your body now. The trigger is an opportunity being afforded to you to re-invite or re-usher in that aspect of yourself that vacated the body when the trauma happened. So you were abused, you were molested, whatever someone was, that is a traumatizing event. That is a traumatizing event. Someone usurped your free will. Someone overstepped your free will. An aspect of yourself was in protective mode or didn't want to look because it was horrifying. That aspect of yourself vacated your body and was replaced by the trauma. So the traumatized aspect, oh my God, this is so deep. Hold on. The traumatized aspect that has deposited in the body is the shadow aspect to your divine aspect that vacated the body. Did everyone catch that? The aspect that is now in your body is a traumatized aspect, which is namely the shadow aspect of the divine aspect that was taken advantage of. So the divine aspect had a shadow aspect. The shadow aspect was enacted by someone else, replaced your divine aspect, and now the job is to bring back in the aspect of yourself that belongs to the whole. So your jigsaw puzzle will not be complete until you bring home these fragments that vacated the body. How do you do this? Guess what the medium is? The trigger. The trigger is the bridge back into your body, meaning it's the bridge from your that vacated aspect back into your body. The trigger is an alert system. It's a notification system. Hey, I want to come back home. I left your body when I was 7 and I was abused or raped or molested. I want to come back home. You're being triggered, but it's a gift. We can rejoin again. We can become one again. We can become creators again. I'm ready to create with you. And that's how you essentially heal. That's how you're able to integrate that aspect that vacated the body, is through the trigger. The trigger is an invitation to become a creator as opposed to a victim.
They're also, yeah, keep going. Keep going.
The trigger is an invitation to become a creator as opposed to staying stuck in victimhood of what happened to you when you were young. It happened. It sucks. We've all dealt with stuff. It sucks. We don't want to minimize that, but it happened. And at some level, you have to trust that the universe allowed it to happen because it was preparing you to become the creator being that you are through the bringing back of it. That's all.
Well, and it's part of the Akashic record. I mean, unfortunately, whether you understand the Akashic record or not, you do have to choose certain experiences. And it's not that you're choosing abuse, but you choose certain sort of consciousnesses to experience throughout your life. And it's just kind of the way the matrix works, third dimension works. But that's a whole different subject. What they were saying as you were, by the way, that piece so is everything, because the way I healed my eating disorder. So I healed my addictions. I healed my alcoholism. It was my eating disorder that was really, that I couldn't get it out. It was that powerful. I'd had it for so many years. And it was when I pulled in that fragmented aspect of me that left the moment that I was abused sexually. The moment that I was sexually abused was the moment my soul split. And when I completely healed my eating disorder was when I finally pulled that aspect back into my body. And from that moment on, the eating disorder consciousness was gone. I didn't have to do baby steps. I didn't have to practice. It was gone because I integrated and pulled back in. I embodied energetically that aspect that left. And so what they're saying is it's not just like emotional triggers. They're saying it's also behaviors. So it's the behaviors you're doing as well that are tricksters, because the behaviors are your patterned ways of dealing with not looking at that trauma. So triggers are massive, but so are your behaviors. So they want the human to start looking at your behaviors, the way you are in your world, the way you show up, because many of us have behaviors that we do that are allowing us to turn our backs on that trauma. It's like programmed ways to not allow ourselves to be vulnerable, raw, and they're saying humans think it's weak. They're saying they think it's weak if they were to actually allow themselves to drop into that trauma, whatever it is. That would be, there's a weakness. There's something about weak that's coming in, that the human thinks they're weak if they allow themselves to be who they are, or pull in those fragmented aspects. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why that piece just came in, but there's something about weakness.
They just told me, they said that, see, that's how they play with us. They said that it's weakness because you think that you're the one who precipitated that event. So in your mind, when someone gets abused or molested, they're like, I will never let that happen to me again. I'm stronger than this. I'm going to control everything from now on because I will never allow this to happen. But you didn't do anything to allow that to happen. So you were never weak. Think of how deep that is. You were never weak. You didn't do anything to deserve that. You didn't do anything to deserve or warrant that behavior from a friend, an uncle, a cousin. You didn't do anything to deserve that. You were never weak. And so now you're wanting to control everything because you're mighty and strong, when all you have to do is say, it happened, and I'm going to allow more to happen, not negatively speaking, but I'm going to allow myself to happen. I'm going to allow myself to bloom. I'm going to allow myself to blossom. I'm going to allow myself to continue to keep my heart open and receive from a vulnerable state, trusting that I didn't do anything to deserve this. So that's where the weak portion comes in. You were never weak to begin with. And now you've become so rigid and you have all these edges about you because you're trying to control something that you thought that you had control over, and you never had control over that.
They're saying right now, you lost trust in yourself. The moment that trauma happened to you, you lost trust in you. So you could no longer trust your authentic, aligned state. And so you started to take control of your life because you couldn't trust that the complete whole aspect of you, that spirit, that soul, that aligned state has you, that you can trust it completely. And that is why so many of us are in this now moment having a very difficult time trusting ourselves, because there is an unconscious moment in our lives where we thought it was all our faults, and therefore we lost trust in ourselves. And so we then decided to take control And we started to create everything as much as possible from a wounded, trauma, fragmented space. And now we are all being asked to come back home to this whole complete version, bring all these aspects back to us in order to create from that complete whole aligned state, which means you have to trust. And that's why people can't pick up, they want to keep picking up that ball on the floor, the ping pong ball, because they are afraid. This is very unconscious, but they are afraid of actually trusting that it will all turn out okay, that they can drop into the arms of their spirit, that they can drop into the arms of their soul, they can drop into the arms of their higher self, and that aspect of them will actually take care of them, because they're unconsciously saying, yeah, but when I was 7, you didn't take care of me. It's very unconscious. It's a very deep unconscious wound the humans have. Most of humanity has this, that there was an aspect, they're saying that most of humanity has a moment in their childhood where they were dropped, or they felt as if they were not safe, or that they weren't safe in the body, they weren't safe trusting their entire whole complete soul, and woundedness and trauma started to take over or implant in.
Wow. What a powerful conversation.
Yeah.
They're
no joke.
Because this is the first time we channeled them on video like this in front of people.
Yeah, they go straight in.
And so the missing link is that fragment that we want to invite, is that fragment that's been MIA for a long time, that departed the body, that vanished out of trauma. And it's been missing us, meaning it's home. We are the home of origin. So the missing link is to see and perceive every trigger that happens as an opportunity to breathe, to pause, to ask, like you said, it's all choice. Ask yourself, what meaning do you want to assign to that now? Are you going to fall prey to it? Or are you going to give yourself comfort, safety, that will then allow that fragmented aspect to trust you again? Meaning you've become the parent, you've become the integrated one, you've become the awakened one, and that fragmented aspect is going to be able to trust you sufficiently to come back home. You have become the home. Your experiences shaped you. They developed your personal character, and your higher self allowed it all to happen because it knew that it would lead you to what you're doing now. You are Lorie Ladd now. I am Phil Good now. I've been abandoned. I've been through my stuff. And I think it's so important now to be very gentle with ourselves. In Mexico, remember that $15,000 was hacked from my account. I didn't do that. That's why I really walked myself through the process with gentleness. I'm not at fault for someone hacking my account. Could you imagine if I was super harsh with myself? Oh, Phil, someone hacked your account. You're horrible. You should pay more attention. No, it was out of my control. So when these uncomfortable situations arise, can we cradle ourselves and say, all is well? You didn't do anything to deserve this. Let's walk through this with grace and ease. Sorry, grace and ease. Grace and ease. Grace and ease. And so that's the idea, is we want to be very kind to ourselves and to others. Because remember, everyone is also trying to find their way. They're expecting you to lash out.
Yeah.
Can you offer them a different experience that provides safety, that provides security? Can you do that for them to give them a chance to feel safe again and subsequently reintegrate that aspect within themselves? We don't have the non-physicals are saying we don't have to worry about others, though. We just have to focus on our now moments and making sure that we're aligned, that we're harmonically aligned with our highest self. That's all we need to do. heart centered, higher mind activated, heart mind coherence, and we pay attention to everything within this now. And every time something triggers you, which is going to happen daily, you're in the reality of contrast. This planet is the planet of contrast. So you pay attention to the triggers and you choose something different. You select a different song because you've been in the same old song and dance. You select a different song. So I feel pretty good with everything we shared today. What do you feel?
I feel really excited. I feel so humbled that this is going to be offered to humanity right now, because I believe that what is coming through is really, really important. And the whole entire human collective is clearing trauma. Every human body is clearing trauma. What that means is every human body is being triggered. The entire human collective is being triggered. And so if we can really embrace this phase that we're in the human evolution, which is, you know, the
I think Lorie froze. Okay, so while she's gone, you guys, I just want to say something. Um, I got Lorie's PayPal link today in case you'd like to donate, because it's only fair that her and I be supported equally. I'm going to share her PayPal link. It is paypal.me/LorieLad1. LorieLad1. So paypal.me/LorieLad1. And mine is feelgoodlife.com/donate. So if you'd like to donate, we don't expect it, but we appreciate every donation and your ongoing support. So again, paypal.me/LorieLad1. And then mine is feelgoodlife.com/donate. All right. I hope that helps you guys. What we shared today, I hope it helped you. And we love you so much. I want to see if she's going to come back on, but if not, it's all good. I will go ahead and close it. Let me text her. 1 second. Yeah, so we're all good. We're going to close the session now, but I want to thank everyone who joined us, and I love you guys so much. And the non-physicals are with us now. I'm excited. I love you. Bye.